Hello?
Hey,
Hey. What's up?
nothing much. How about you?
I'm great right now. I feel informative right now.
Great.
It's good for you, right? You're gonna
I
be
hope so.
receiving that info. All right. So we have a Kadena.
Yes, we do.
How are you enjoying Kadena?
I actually really like the class. I played like MapleStory since like I was really young,
Mm-hmm.
and then this is like the first class where I like actually just find it fun to play.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like a meta slave most of the time, but it's like pretty fun to just like combo around and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's pretty fun, I guess.
Yeah, you feel
Bossing's
like
good.
the negatives are offset by how fun it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably mention it later, but just like the whole mobbing and leveling is slow, but other than that, it's like really good.
I thought that that it can be a bit slow until it gets to like 255. Oh shit! Sorry, neighbor at my house, at my at my door. Horrible timing. Hang on.
No worries.
Ooh. Okay, at least it wasn't someone who door dashed, because we had those. No, it was one of my neighbors. Okay. Yes. So Kadena, you're still enjoying it.
Mhm.
You like the difficulty. Usually meta slave, but you're not doing it this time, and you're enjoying that experience overall.
Yeah, I mean, Kadena's pretty meta slave at the same time, you know?
There is,
So-
yeah. There's a lot of well, yeah. Every new class has like that surge of players playing it. But I feel like that's normal because even though there's so many classes, there's still I think MapleStory does a decent job at making all the classes still pretty distinct, and
Yeah,
that means that every single class coming out does meet a certain need and some criteria that people were still looking for. And then,
yep,
therefore, it's always going to speak to a certain type of player base who was like, "Oh man, I was playing Blaster before, but it was had a little bit of too much of this and not enough of this." And Kadena is actually really the one that I wanted to play. And then people jump on it, and then you'll get like the negative connotations of like being a bandwagon or something because it's a new class. But I mean, when were you supposed to play it before then? Like it wasn't out yet, so
yeah.
it's kind
I
of an
mean, I feel
unfair
like
characterization.
for how strong the class is, there's not as many players. I, that's at least how I feel.
I feel like there's a lot of like 270s and 275s for Cadena disproportionately compared to like new classes. Like people always jump
Oh
on new
yeah,
classes,
yeah,
but then people just
yeah.
like it tapers off again pretty quickly. But with Cadena, not too many. Like it didn't taper off nearly as much, is what I noticed.
Hmm,
Because you have a
I
decent
see.
amount of 275s, especially because of the what is it like Maelstrom skill, right? Where you can just put like the chain down somewhere.
Yeah,
That ends up being like a super valuable tool for your gains and like the end game for mobbing.
I see.
All the Cadenas I talked to that were like, they got up to like 270, 275. They're like, that skill carries them hard, they said, in getting good
Huh.
rates.
I guess you also need like Lucid Soul later,
Yeah, like if you put
maybe.
the Maelstrom at the right place, it just like corns off just two platforms, just got constantly cleared. And then you put the Lucid Soul somewhere else, and then you hop around, then you go back to the first platform, you put the Maelstrom. It's a pretty
Yeah,
short like duration, right? It only stays for like, what is
yeah,
it, like
yeah,
3 seconds, 5 seconds?
yeah. Maybe you just need to like every rotation or their second rotation, put it down.
Yeah, or you can know like a few spots that are good spots, and then whenever you pass by
Yeah,
that
yeah,
spot where you know is a good spot, you always just throw it down and you move to the next area. Yeah.
yeah. Something like that.
But overall, you're enjoying it, and you are what level and what stage are you currently in?
I'm 236,
Mm-hmm.
but like, so I rushed this character to 235 just so I can like start doing all the dailies on it, and then
Yep.
I just kind of just started doing Legion afterwards.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'm
To balance
pretty
it
much
out.
I yeah, I can do like lucid parties.
Mm-hmm.
I can solo low mean pretty easily. But like I'm at an awkward place where like, so here's like the thing about like why I'm like doing Legion right now is because I feel like if you see my equips, like I'm kind of capped because like I can't get Gollux gear any faster, right? I'm just doing daily Gollux Helix clears and
Yep.
um
Just pray to
yeah.
RNGesus.
Yeah, exactly. And then also
Daily
like my
sacrifice in
gear,
your shrine
yeah,
for Helix.
yeah.
to come.
My gear is like like almost all three starred. I mean three lined and then 17 starred.
Uh-huh.
So the gains from 17 to 22 is like a lot more expensive, right?
Yeah, a lot more risky and a lot more expensive as a result.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like at this place where like I mean if I push 250, I could probably join normal will parties, but
Mm-hmm.
um I don't think I'll have the stat to join hard Damien or hard Lotus yet. So I'm just trying to like figure it out like how I
Yeah,
can get
that's
there.
where. Yeah, I think that's a normal point. You can like grind your way even without like going super hard into like any of the game mechanics. You can grind your way up to definitely like the level of normal lucid and then normal will just by getting to 250. But then there
Yeah.
definitely is a huge gap between the normal parties and the hard parties for the same bosses. Like you can definitely bridge some of that gap by just constantly working on your arcane power and getting that up because there's a lot of free
Mhm.
stat in there. But it does definitely. There are definitely a few things that you need to start doing that just require longer term planning, more risk, and like playing around events and just overall just spending more mesos and more time specifically on these things to make sure that you can make those jumps. Yeah, that is definitely true. Legion is also one of them. So like between your arcane symbol dailies and Legion, those are all definitely good things. Familiars is still a little bit up in the air, like to which extent those are going to be realistically affecting your overall position. That it might be a thing that comes more into play like after hard loosen and hard will, right? Because people were already, even like without hard loosen, without the familiar system,
Yeah,
were
they're already
already
doing it
doing that.
just fine.
You can argue like maybe the ID comes into play at some point, right? Because we always had the codex historically, so that might still be part of the progression. More like doing the badges, getting the ID there, maybe ID on one line of a familiar, something like that. But apart from that, I think most of the familiars is gonna, for extra lines of boss, I see that only coming into play like pretty much after
Yeah.
hard lucid and hard will, as or like being when you're already doing the bosses to make them just a little bit faster, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's mainly going to be, besides those factors, it's mainly going to be your equips. Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
because like right now, I don't want to rely on like familiars to get me to like, a certain like point in the game. So
mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm pretty much like just waiting for Gollux gear and just doing daily boss. I'm trying to like flame my Dominator pendant, use like probably like well over 100 rainbow flames and still got nothing, but
Oh, well, 45 more of them soon, right? Or 54? How many is it?
oh, is it?
45? Yeah,
Oh,
45.
yeah, 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 from
In
the box, right?
yeah, from the fountain. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's something good in there.
Yeah. I got 80 and 7%, but I was all in. That would have been like really,
Oof.
really fat.
That would have been really good, yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunate roll.
Would have been like 106 or something. No, what if
Um
it would be like 90 something?
with 80 and 7?
Yeah, if you get this transpose, it'd be like 90 something stat, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so for the flame score, typically just always keep like in mind like what the flame was always before transposing in
Yeah.
general. Because you don't gain stats when you transpose, they just kind of like renumber within the total
Tier.
numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
because they have to fit to the new tier. Yeah, yeah, it would end up being 90 something, I guess, but well, probably I think it would be exactly 90, right? Because I think for my Papalatus mark, I think there was exactly 10 stats. It might be a little bit more because it's a higher amount. Might be like 92 or something. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. How do you play? Like, take us through like an average week of you playing. What do you do?
Well, it's kind of like different every week, but because like this month I just got like my Legion from like 3K to 5K,
Mm-hmm.
so I would just do dailies and then do weekly bosses probably on reset or something, and then I just spam my Legion characters most of the time.
Mm-hmm. What kind of dailies
But
do you do?
just bosses, Ursus, Maple Tour sometimes, Monster Park, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really. I used to, like when I was grinding my Cadena to 235, I was like grinding a lot. But like right now, if I don't have totems, I don't really bother
Mm-hmm.
because I'm only on one PC setup.
Yeah, one PC. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm like more focusing on. I'm like trying to get my Kana like just to Arcana. Like I'm more focusing on that just so I can like farm better or efficiently. Because I feel like unless I have like actual proper full setup on Kadena, like it's just never gonna like I feel it feels so bad to farm on Cadena.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like allocating all my nodes and like some of my funds on my Kana for now.
Okay. You're feeling like you're not getting good rates, not progressing very quickly, or?
Yeah, I mean it's just like I'm kind of capped until I get Golix here, so I just need to just get more Mesos and stuff until that happens, and then I can progress equip wise further on my Cadena.
But is that bad though that you're capped right now? Like, is it hurting your growth? Like, are you not one-shotting? Do you think you can kill monsters faster, or?
Well, it's just like my I just don't have enough motivation I guess to go, like push my Cadena farther up
Mm-hmm.
as of right now, because like even if I level, I don't know if I can join in like will or like harder parties. So
Yeah, for Will, just the main determining factor there, well, there's like two factors, right? The main one is just being level 250, otherwise you get too much reduced damage.
yeah,
And then the other one is hitting your 1140 arcane power for the bonus, but at least hitting, what is it, 780, I think, for the normal, right? Or 760?
yeah,
760, 380, 1140. Yeah, 760 at least. So you do have that part. I mean, I think every now and then there's like struggle will parties as well in the Discord Central, and we do try to do. We do have a role for like my Discord as well, for people who want to do that. I'm pretty sure there's not too much Lucid and Will activity, but I think that's common because there's a lot of people in the community who started with the struggle CRA stuff, who then started doing the struggle Lotus Damien stuff, who are now getting in the point where they're doing some even soloing that, so they're like moving up to Lucid soon.
yeah,
So yeah, maybe tag along with that. I mean, when it comes to Will, even if you have a whole party of like people between like level 240 and 245, you can probably still get to phase 2 and test phase 2. It's just going to take a bit longer.
yeah.
But it'll also be way more fun than like a solo practice run where you're probably not even going to get to phase 2.
Yeah, I mean this month I just used all my totems on Legion mules,
Oh yeah, yeah.
but next month I'll probably do like I don't know 2 hour sessions a couple times a week at least.
Did you buy all your totems out for this month?
Yeah, exactly. I got like 3K Legion levels this month, so
Yeah, yeah, you did a lot, yeah. Okay. But that's good. You're probably starting to feel the Legion gains, right? Every new character starts off way stronger.
well, stronger is one thing, but it's just like the Legion coin gains from just doing nothing is pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, that goes up a lot, and then you can force feed potions,
Yeah,
and shove them
yeah.
down all your Legion mules' throats to make them level way faster. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm like thinking like I know this isn't the like most optimal way, but like I know in KMS like people just make bunch of like pathfinders or like errands for easier 140s. Do you think that's like ever a good option?
So there's definitely a few pros and a few cons to that. So the pros is just easier level ups. I mean, I think some people probably also just make a lot of Adels, right? I mean, Adels
Yeah.
have like the larger the slow storyline in the beginning, but once you get past that,
Yeah.
the character is really brain dead and super strong to level.
Yeah.
Or in our case, they would just make a bunch of Kanas, right? Because those level like nothing. But in KMS they don't have Kanas. Otherwise, they probably have a whole legion of Kanas, I think.
Yeah.
There's a huge benefit in the beginning to like boost up your legion up to 6k for sure. Once you get closer to 8k legion, and depending on how many different types of characters you want to play, it becomes more and more beneficial to just having one of each character. Specifically also because every character at this point either has a good link or a good legion buff, or both. I don't think there's any character in the game that has like both a shitty link and a shitty legion. Like I think it's only Corsair or something maybe, and that's
Yeah, Corsair's
about
pretty bad.
and that's about it. Like maybe some of the pirates are like a little bit like if you're not going to use the pirate link skill and you use different stat in Legion, then you can put like 3 or 4 classes offside, but that's about it. So the game is definitely moving more in the direction of every class having some kind of value for your account. And if you're ever going to be switching to a different class later, and you want to make sure you can make optimal use of your Legion and your link skills at that point, I think it would feel bad that you would have to redo a bunch of characters then to take advantage of them when you could have just leveled all of those characters in the first place. So I generally advise to just making one of each. But I can... If you know for like 100% you're just going to stay Cadena forever or for like the foreseeable future for like a year or two, then there could be a lot of value in just pumping up your Legion, because there's going to be like 10 characters or more that aren't even going to be selected in your Legion, so those can already be doubles without any kind of negative. And then of all the characters that go in your Legion, maybe 6 of them barely give you anything, so those could be doubles as well. Which means you have like access to about 16 extra characters that could just be extra kanas and could be free levels way faster. That could boost you to the point, So there's definitely a benefit to that, but like long term, if you maybe switch, maybe a new class comes out that's a mage that is actually really fun for you to play, and then you have no intellect characters, because that's one of the main things, is that you probably neglect a lot of the intellect characters because they just give flat int to your Legion. Then you could be missing out on like 400 intellect if you make that new character. Yeah.
I mean, I pretty much optimized my Legion for Kana and Kadena, so it's not a big deal. I just was always wondering why people did it that way.
Yeah. Does that make sense? Why people would choose one over the other? Yeah.
Because like I think statistics show like 10% of Korean Maple Story populations Pathfinders or something.
Because they're so easy to... I think they're making a lot more Adels now as well, because they're easy to level and get to the point where they can do a lot of CRA runs and then farm the crystals. Yeah. And I think they were using Pathfinders as well as crystal farmers.
Yeah. I guess it's more important in normal servers.
Yeah, percentage to the regular income. That's a very big way of them to make money. That's why they implemented the half-hour cooldown for Root Abyss, because what they would do is they would go 2-man, and then the big attacker would like leave the party, go to a different channel, 2-man again, and the first person like wouldn't clear the boss, and they would just keep them really low. And then once they did it in like all the available channels, then they would kill all the bosses at the same time and all get half value, but divided over 4 people, so you would actually double the value of the available crystal, and that's why they did the half-hour cooldown. So they couldn't do that anymore.
People get really smart.
Yeah, people find workarounds, right? But it's also kind of silly that we get that fixed now, because nobody was using that for us. Nobody was doing that, and now we just get cucked by half-hour block when those bosses, I think, are very important to practice them. So they did come up with the boss practice instead, but there's already like a delay before that gets implemented. I think it's also suboptimal, because I think it would be really cool if practice mode, it would also allow you like which phase of the boss to enter, for example.
Oh yeah, or like I had trouble with Gollux for the longest time, and like Gollux is not practice, so it's like pretty shitty. But
Gollux is no practice, and now it's, especially since it's only 1 entry a day now, it's pretty unforgiving.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I copy that with the portal bug, and there goes your day again.
You can't respawn. It's like the dumbest thing.
Like, you have no drop rate for the equips, and then you have no practice to get to that point, and then you have bugs, and then you have 1 entry a day. Like, it's so many hurdles to...
Yeah, and then you just like kill it like 20 times, 30 times to get a drop.
Yeah, and you hope for 1. And then hopefully you get enough coins for like half a drop at that point as well.
Yeah. Sucks.
It's pretty... it's brutal, but if you look at how good the set bonus is compared to the pitch boss set, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not complaining because KMS doesn't have half the shit we have. But
yeah. It's like...
at the same time, it's like...
Yeah, you're complaining, but yeah, you kind of in your right to complain, but at the same time, you're also not. It's like, it's difficult. You're like, I wish it was easier, but at the same time, God, we already have it so good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, you can always go back and complain. It's like, people don't have potable badges. It's like, well, KMS never had it.
Yeah.
And then
if you pile everything on. Yeah, for sure.
KMS doesn't have 13%. Like...
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, that's also a thing. No level 3 links. Yeah, there's like a lot of those things that do add up together. Okay, so you're playing 1PC. So you're making like what, like 2 bill, 2.5 bill a week, something like that?
Yeah, I mean,
More
if
if you
it
train.
depends. Yeah, it depends if I'm farming or not. But
Yeah.
I'm
Which
not
you
like really
will.
focused
Are you
right now.
focus? Yeah. Are you
But
gonna focus on like 6K Legion and then spend more time
I'm gonna
farming?
be pushing. Yeah, I'm gonna pushing 6K in like a week or two, because
Mm-hmm.
I only need like 700 more levels,
Okay.
and I have like 5 character slots for that.
You also had
And
the
then
Mega Burn, then the Terra Burn, then another Mega Burn that helped a lot as well, right?
yeah. So I'll be pushing that, and then probably just focusing on getting my con to 235.
Okay, so
While
you're
dealing
planning to
with
have like the farming kana and then focus mainly on just damaging and experience on your Kadena, and then if you need extra money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because it seems like you're playing a lot if you're running out of totems, so then that way you can dip into the totems on the Kadena and then do off totem but still have the extra spawn for the kana and double use the coupons from Legion, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm planning
Yep.
to do. Cause like, yeah, just don't want to have a second PC. Like that'll just take too much from me, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is a commitment. Yeah, I mean, I have my
Yeah.
laptop like on my desk next to me. To me, making the separate kana farmer would make too much of a commitment for me. But it just depends on how you wanna play it. You know, like there's no right or wrong there. It just depend. Yeah, just
Yeah, I
whatever
don't
works for
think
you.
I'll ever like fully optimize even having a second Kano,
Mm-hmm.
like on a second PC. Like I don't think I'll be grinding that much. Like doing 2 hours these days is like a hassle.
Yeah, I think it's useful for still leveling your legion and stuff.
Yeah, but I'm
But
like already like
for,
pretty
yeah,
good
exactly.
for it.
Now you're established, and for doing extended hours of training and then constantly having to like move around the kana and making sure that it hits other
Yeah,
monsters, trying to trigger Night Ghost Guide, and it's like, oof.
yeah, it's whatever. It's
It's
not a big deal.
suboptimal. It's still better than no totem, but like
Yeah,
you'd almost use the kana to just gather reward points so you can buy totems, so you can use it as a totem mule, so you can double dip on totems that way.
oh yeah, you can do that too. Yeah, didn't even
That
think about that.
yeah, especially now with relay, right? You just I just AFK'd for points,
Yeah,
so I just buy out items from the shop that I want, and then with all the reward points from AFKing, um, and then I get Absolab equips for all my other mules that are shit low levels, so I can actually push them past certain level to
oh
work on the Legion a little bit. Yeah, it's a very slow
yeah.
process, but there is some value in it. But yeah, it's definitely not for everyone what they want.
Like I think I'm just gonna keep my Legion around 6K for
Hmm.
most part, and then when there's like nothing else for me to do, I'll get it to 8K. But like when I was like trying to get my Beast Tamer to 210, like I just couldn't do it after 203. Like it was just too bad.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes you just keep them there, or you like slowly do some dailies to maybe slowly level, or only if there's double or triple experience coupons, something like that.
Yeah,
And then you just force yourself to get like a little bit of progress, or if this, those level up potions, they give you one free level up to 210, something like that.
yeah,
But other than that, you just leave them where they are and focus on things that are actually fun. You don't want to torture
yeah.
yourself too much.
Cause like BT Link 2 to 3 is only 3% more boss and 3% more crit. It's like
Yeah,
if that's the last thing I can do to upgrade myself, I'll do it. But like,
yeah. I mean, three crit is nice. Now there's gonna be some crit in the badge system as well from the familiars. There's like a little bit of crit there.
yeah, I mean, it's whatever. I'm like
Yeah.
pretty much okay with it. Like I don't. It's not worth it for right now.
No, well, yeah. So at certain points, so let's say that you have your hyper stats. You only have it. Yeah, you have your critical rate at 7, right?
Yep.
Which that is wait, it's 35 to go to 10, so 30 to go to 9, and 25 to go to 8, so 20 to go to 7. So let's say that you took 1 point at a crit rate, that gives you 20 hyperstat points. And if because
Yep.
you let's say you just get 2% from badges from your familiar system, right?
Yep.
That gives you 24 points that you could get to level 10, ignore defense faster, or you could put 24 points towards your attack stat, for example. That gives you a bunch of extra
Yeah.
attack. So there is like small percentages somewhere. In the
Yeah.
grand scheme of things, don't do very much. But if they allow you to take some points away from a system that is kind of like over, where the points are very valuable, and then you can redistribute, that way it gives like a new dimension to moving around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Playing around with like the grid and stuff too.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we weren't really scrolling through anything yet, but yeah, thanks for mentioning. Okay. All right, I think I have a decent background. So, but you said you lacked motivation, but I feel like you still have motivation, but you're not really clear on what would be a good way to go about moving forward, right?
Well, it's just like my current motivation was put into doing all my Legion recently,
Mm-hmm.
because I know like that would be a huge buff compared to like, I mean, I could probably like get this to 240 or whatever with the hours I put in,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like just doing Legion was way more, I guess, relatively more
More efficient.
gains.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, and then yeah, like I ended up buying. Since this day, I bought a Superior Pendant, and so I'm at like 28 point something K luck right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good shit. Um. All
And I
right.
know I need to work on my ability, but like it's hard to hit it right now.
Your
I
inner
need
ability. Yeah.
yeah, I need either boss and attack or the percent damage to debuffed mobs or something. I think.
Oh yeah. Exclamation. What is it like? 8% damage to
Yeah, that one,
damage
yeah.
to debuff mobs or something.
Yeah, one of the three is good, apparently.
Those are probably pretty tricky to get, I assume.
Yeah.
Oh, this one says buff duration. This one
I
says
don't know.
buff duration boss
I just
attacker.
saw like one of the top Cadenas, and then he told me that. So
Yep.
I don't
No, it's
think
probably
that
also
bad.
good, yeah.
Yeah.
It could be that the value drops a little bit if you get more boss damage from the familiars, right? Because that damage all gets thrown into one
Yeah.
pile. But since those numbers seem to get reduced into the epic numbers were apparently actually unique lines, and those are going to be adjusted downwards, I guess that makes it so that those numbers won't scale as hard. And you don't scale that much into damage and boss damage, right? You scale way more into final damage with your stacks, with your muscle memory.
Yeah. That and just flat attacks best for thieves in general.
Yep. It's not like Arc where you just run into like 900% total damage in your burst for some reason.
Oh yeah, like my range looks so weak compared to my stat right now, but like if I fully buff up, I'm at like almost 40 mil,
Yeah.
35 mil.
Yeah, it's basically just hero tier, right? Where my hero and rest is like at 14 mil, and then I buff it goes up to 54, and it's like yeah, that's why I try to take the whole what is your range? I try to unpower that question like as much as possible, because
Yeah.
it's just not, it just doesn't help you. It just puts people in the wrong direction. And I get it, like it would make sense that your range determines how strong you are, but it just doesn't.
Yeah, because it only lasts like 10 seconds or something.
Yeah, it could last for 10 seconds, or your class could just need more range to do the same damage as someone else, or yeah, it makes so much more sense to look at like all the other metrics, which is what we're going to be doing now, right? We're going to look at all the other metrics.
Yeah.
I'm not going to look at, okay, so your range is 7.1 to 7.9 in rest. Okay, well, my table here says that you need to be like a 10.2, so you need to improve by 30%. So let's look at that. Like, that's not the basis of what I go by, right? Not to mention that it would be different for every class. It would, yeah, whatever. And if you disproportionately work on Star Force, or disproportionately work on potential, disproportionately work on your nodes or whatever, yeah, it can be out of balance. So we're looking at the whole picture here. Is there, well, since you're already like in your 230s, is there anything in the game, like any kind of system in the game that you feel like is not, that you're not really mastering yet? Like there's something that you're still kind of missing, like why is this important, or?
Well, not really, just like I'm just kind of staying away from familiars for now until people figure it out.
Yeah.
But other, like I'm okay with it. Everything else.
Okay. Yeah, because
Like I
familiars
left
is.
all my flames and stuff at like just a decent place, because like I know if I want to get to end game, like it'll be a lot more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And
Are
also
you?
just like,
yeah, go for it.
yeah, like I know like obviously super end games like full arcane gear and stuff, but like I just don't know if, for example, like my weapon, do I go for 22 star even in the first place, or like do I just keep it at 17 and just like farm for arcane, or you know what I mean? Like I just don't know if it's worth it to invest money into like
With-
some Abso gear.
With Abso weapon, yeah.
Yeah.
That whole idea behind that truly is a matter of how much are you going to be playing. With the Cadena, you'll be wanting to level and go to the latest areas, you know, to optimize your gains. which also means moving out of the areas that even drop the droplets in the first place. And your droplets is your main bottleneck, right? Is even if you can join the hard bosses, some experience there. After over 200 runs, it's possible that you don't get any relevant drops, and then the only thing you can rely on is how many droplets you've made in the same time. So if you have no stable income on droplets, they'll just not be an option for you. So just getting Arcane to get everything to 17 stars in Arcane would be generally a bad idea, because that would already be overpowered. That would roughly be equivalent to like 19-star Abzo, so it would be overpowered by 20, 21, and 22. So at that point, just going the Abzo route just makes way more sense. If you have like full 21 Abzo, that is about at the same level. I think it slightly gets overpowered by like 19-star Umbra, but that already means that you have to venture into the realm of possibly blowing up and needing backups.
Right.
Which is generally something you do, like what people do, like, oh, you get a drop, then you try to Star Force it whenever there's like a 5, 10, 15, right? And then if it, like in the beginning, you'll just go 17 on everything, and then you try to push them from 17 to 19, or you just go 19 at a piece. It depends what you already have, right? If what you currently have is like 17 or 18, or like maybe at most like 20-star Abzo, then, sometimes people will just wait until they have the whole set to replace the whole set. If you luck into a drop because you're kind of getting carried, or because you're a Kana, and you already, your main contribution isn't really your gear, but it's more your kit, and you're having just like 17-star Abzo or something, then you could just go one item at a time and even replace them once you get there. But that's the whole thing aside. Like in general, people like still rely on drops either until they will sit on all the droplets, then hopefully get a drop or two, and then be like, okay, those items I can do, and then if I blow them up, I just replace them with the droplets that I have. But hopefully I don't have to, and then I can freely use the droplets to buy the other pieces of stuff. Because as long as they're droplets, they're flexible. They can turn into any item. Well, any item in the Lucid shop, right? When it comes to will, you're pretty you're pretty screwed there, because you can just have to buy the shoulder there, and getting the shoulder drop. I think I've seen one shoulder drop in my life so far. It's also not great. The weapon drop seems to be more common, right? Because it drops from both of the bosses, so you have like double the chances. But then again, most people already make the weapon themselves, because that one is the most impactful to increase their range. But it's also the most expensive, so it's always like... So where do you go from there? I think for most people, what I would advise is to try to aim first for 20-star Abzo. If you have enough backup and you have enough money and you know for sure that Arcane still isn't in your future, you could push from 20 to 21. And that's where I would advise most people to go. Like, that's what I do with most of my characters. That's where my arc is at. That's where eventually I think my hero is going to go. I don't know if you saw the update I did with my hero, with my Star Forcing.
I saw the equip video, but I wasn't really sure where you were before that, but yeah.
Yeah, basically I go for level 150 items at 21 star, like during a 5 and 15 event. I just stock up on backups, don't safeguard, just like get them all the way up to 21, and then transfer hammer into the Abzo, and then it's just 20-star Abzo, and then upgrade that. It's typically how I do it, yeah. And you could do that from 17-star Abzo, or like me, like the shoulder I had before that was like a 12-star Sengoku shoulder. And then I went from there to a 20-star Abzo. I can make those huge jumps because I don't have to rely on any single item for my damage. I can rely on everything else kind of picking up the slack of missing items. And also at this point, I'm kind of just upgrading because I can, not really because I need to. Because it's not like my hero is probably, if I keep leveling it and keep doing dailies and everything, could probably get into like Hard Lucid and Hard Will in not too long. But it's not really something I'm actively aiming for, but it's like, well, it was a good opportunity. I had the prep money. I might as well just give it a go, kind of thing.
Yeah. Do you think I should do my CRA gear first, like 220-star for?
Yeah, so it depends on how many backups you have, but you probably have a decent amount of CRA. I personally completely overlooked my CRA until the last event, and then got it to 21-star the last event. Because of how many backups I have and because it was 5, 10, 15. But ideally, you want to do that before Abzo, yeah. But let's say you're going for, let's say for the shoulder, you're aiming for the Rimuru shoulders, getting to high Star Force, and then transfer hammering them over, and you just don't get any Rimuru shoulders, or you blow them up before they get to that point. Well, then, yeah, you might as well, focus on your CRA first. But if you get a bunch of shoulders, you could also try that. It kind of depends. what you're aiming for. But I think like aiming for like 20 across the board for everything, and then getting some up to 21 when you restock on money, because that's the main thing it is, right? Like every upgrade costs way more money. You already mentioned it. So the main thing is just being patient, waiting for those events, and then going hard when the event comes around. So having a good long-term plan and knowing that you're not upgrading because you can, but because because you want to, because there's a certain goal you have in mind, and there's a certain amount of stars that gets you there.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm pretty sure 20 star everything would be like hard lucid, hard will ready, as long as you're like mainly decked out Abzo, your flames are acceptable, your potential seems already good enough to be at that point, but everything else has to like come up to that point. Yeah. So the next step is definitely Star Force, and we had a 5, 10, 15 recently, but you have to have a huge pile of money to back you up in case something goes wrong, of course.
Yeah, I just got my Kana's item during that event because I had really nothing else to do.
Yeah, if you have if you're gonna go the Meso Farmer route, then it makes sense to upgrade on that character. Make sure that character can one shot or kill reasonably fast, so that you can capitalize on that as fast as possible to regain those investments.
But like realistically, arcane weapon, like if I farm enough on the con, I can get, right, and then that means I need to get a Abso hat, right?
I think most people stay with the CRA hat. Because you go for weapon, and then the shoulder, the glove, the shoe, and the cape, the 5 set.
Right.
Because I think the 6 set, what is it? Arcane Umbra set bonus. Because I think the set bonus gives you the... Isn't the 6 set the awkward one? It gives you like HP, MP, and a little bit of attack?
No, I mean like if I get the arcane weapon, I need to swap out the CRA hat for Abso hat, right? Because
you mean until you get the rest of the pieces. Yes, you would do that to upkeep your 5 set Abzo set. Yes, sorry, I misunderstood. Yeah, because you want to keep that 30% boss, right? Yeah.
My hat is so good though. I don't wanna. 4 seconds is so hard to get.
Is that mainly very beneficial for you for mobbing or for bossing?
Both, but mainly I guess more bossing. Because Kadena's bat is the main damage, and then that goes from 12 seconds to 8 seconds, which is huge.
12 minus 5%. Wait, does it go to 8? It goes to like...
Yeah, it goes to 8. It goes to 8. Yeah.
Well, it shows up as an 8, right? So it means it's still over... It's still like 9, I guess?
No, it should be 8. Like, it goes... It's literally like... Oh, I see what you mean, but...
Yeah, because it's refused efficiency under 10 seconds. Or at least it should be.
But, like, it goes to 10 right away and after the first line, so it should be 8 seconds. Because it goes from 12 to 10, and then for under 10, it's...
Yeah, it's 5%. 5% of 10 seconds is half a second, right? 1/20th?
Yeah, so it's not... It would be 9 then.
It should be 9.5, something like that.
Yeah.
But it should show up as an 8, right? On the bottom right, like on your cooldowns, which means that it's 9 seconds, but it shows like 8, 7... Because at 0, it stays at 0 for like 1 second before it goes to actually activating, right? Yeah. But yeah, regardless, that's still really good, yeah. Because bat is huge, yeah. I remember mobbing with bat was very satisfying because you just smash the entire map, kind of, and everything like bounces around. Everything's like, holy shit, what is going on? Yeah, you're just, yeah, that's really cool. I already thought it was cool without the animations on, and then I turned the animations on later and it looked even cooler.
It has pretty funny animations.
Yeah. Well, you do eventually return to this, right? If you get more pieces of arcane, then you do return because you want to keep the 3 set bonus then over the 6 set arcane.
But that's like I don't know if that's even realistic at this point.
Yeah,
that's
that might be realistic.
3 years away.
Well, you could try doing it with both hats and just do like you could try to do the bell analysis, right?
Yeah.
And see if it's significantly different just with like a clean hat. And if it's like already remotely close with the clean hat, then investing in the hat will be worthwhile.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is possible that because it's you're doing it for 30 boss and 20 attack, I think, over 50 attack.
Yeah, so you're trading 30.
You're trading 30 for 30,
cost.
yeah.
Yeah, which is huge, but
Which is pretty huge, yeah.
yeah. So like, if you can see, like the flames are just like not bad, but like not like super good either for most of them.
Well, one thing for Cadena is that all stat is really good.
Yeah, the strength is pretty good for some
Yep.
reason.
Yeah, well, double secondaries, don't question it, okay? Just embrace it.
Yeah. My pants are pretty good, I guess, then.
A7, yeah. Half out of those. So it'd be like 91. I mean, the hat's better, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I have a superior belt trace. Like I transferred the Ayame belt and then accidentally pressed Star Force like one time.
Oh.
I thought I was cubing, and then it just went boom one try.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm just waiting on that.
Rip Ayame and Superior Belt.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean,
Oof.
doesn't really make a difference. It's not like I can join hard parties with that.
I mean, it's a step in the direct. Yeah, it's always a combination of a bunch of different things, right? It's never one thing going wrong that, unless it's like a 22-star weapon or something like that. Like if that goes up, that could be a major factor. But usually it's just a bunch of moving pieces together that all
I'm
make
gonna eventually get a build as I'm farming for coins, anyways. I hope.
Yep. 140 drop for the mesos. So all here. Yeah, it's good potentials. I guess your meso farming kind of helped a lot already to get to this point, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I'll give the chat a moment to look at your emblem and to just feel really bad.
Yeah, it was kind of sad.
Sad times.
I was like happy but sad, you know?
Yeah, but mainly sad at the end of the day, I think.
Yeah, like mainly sad, but like happy I saw 3 things that like it just kind of looks nice.
Yeah. That's not attack. That's a very good observation, title Slim Shady. That is indeed not attack. So, yeah, I mean, you have the emblem to kind of like counter that, I guess.
Yeah, I got it fixed.
Yeah.
Took a while, but
took a while. I mean, it's worth it. So.
Yeah, way worth it. It's not even close.
Wait, how much extra is that? This is 734,000. I mean, it was like a long time ago. Probably.
No, yeah, it was just a random. Yeah, I like random equip, just whatever.
That 9 is not a 12. True. Also, that 12 is not a 9, which is more what you would expect. Yeah. That wrong has been righted. And then you have secondary. Okay. Oh, you have a 40, 40, 30, and a 30 attack. Ooh, okay.
Yeah, because I rolled a 30 attack first, and then I realized I have no way I'm gonna get IED back like to 90, like above 90. And then so I just made this accident like while I was just randomly cubing, and then it's like okay, cool.
He's like, okay, cool, that's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah,
and
like 20 cubes, so I was like, okay.
Okay, yeah, and you can't rely on any ID from your emblem anyway, because there's no way you're ever replacing that. So
yeah, I'm never replacing that.
Yeah. So now it all just comes down to
the
the weapon
first.
Yep.
Because yeah,
you have the most limited options. You only have attack and IED, and then you have to make the puzzle fit for the other 2 pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for weapon, what are you at? Like, what is your droplet situation now? Because you're thinking of not over investing in your current weapon because you're gonna want to replace it, right?
I mean, yeah, I feel like it's just like way more. I mean, current like in the present time, if I put money into my weapon, I'll have more gains. But like eventually, I'm gonna swap it out, right? So I think I'll just like, if anything, I'll start force my other gear. Like I'm okay with my weapon. It's not like it's like whatever.
Yep. No, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
And
like,
you gotta remember as well, like star forcing. If you start forcing past 15, sorry for interrupting. If you start force past 15, pretty much all of your stuff just gets the same gains. Like weapons don't
Yeah,
really
yeah,
gain more
exactly.
anyway. So it feels like weapon is definitely the focus early on. But if you make the same gains on your other Abzo stuff, then you'll just end up making the same. You're getting the same amount of stats, same amount of attack, and everything. So
Yeah.
it's only with Umbra has like level 200 bonuses, and then that gets bigger.
Yeah, because they have flames and stuff too. So.
Yeah, flames also get bigger, higher base stats, so the higher tier flames get more important. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think I'll just take Star Force to other equips first, and then
Mm-hmm.
eventually farm on Makana for Arcane Weapon. If the gains are the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I think my short-term goal is Helix gear and then Sweetwater pendant, hopefully.
Yeah. I'm just gonna check your other stuff.
And I don't know where to stop on the flames for Gollux earrings. Like, I know these have really dank, like, really shitty, like, flames, so I just stopped at 3%.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Well, yeah. The percent all stat is pretty good for you. So the way I generally go by like flames and like how far you go and everything. Are you familiar with the flame score concept?
Yeah.
So if you check !progression, I go by like all the stages of the game and then where I would expect you to be with certain things. And I mean, probably if you looked at this a month ago or 2 months ago, then you would have seen that probably your Legion would be the place to get a lot of gains.
Yeah.
Right, because you expect to be like here, and now you're gonna go towards here. So you're making this jump, but you're making this within the late game, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, so for weapons, we have the tiers, right? Because it's a different percentage of your base. And then for the flame score for non-flame advantage or flame advantage, you know the difference, right, between like the Gollux and everything. Yeah. So like how much you would aim for in the flame scores. So you're probably like like the E-ring for now is non-flame advantage. So it's like 3% all stats. So for you, that's roughly equivalent of like 27, I think, because you have 2 secondary stats.
Yeah.
So you're right there in like in the beginning stages, and then at the end you want to be like around 42. So that would be like then you would go towards end game. So that would be more like hitting 4% all stat with a little bit, or hitting like 12 luck and 3% all stat, something like that.
Right. Okay.
And yeah, judging by all your flames, it's probably like the most reasonable spots I think you can gain some flame score is probably your cup, and then probably your cape and your maybe your shoe. Maybe probably not your shoe because all stat is so good. Probably the cape.
Yeah. Okay.
90 flat is good though, but you know, at some point everything becomes good, and then what else is the whatever is the least good becomes bad comparatively. But at that point, what I always do is just save up all my weekly flames until just from all the bosses until one starts like expiring, and then just throw them all on and see if I can get something either decent that isn't that much worse, or something that's better, and then move on to the next item, whichever is the next one on the list. But yeah, reflaming the non-flame advantage is gonna feel terrible, so like mentally prepare for that one.
I'm like just smashing all my flames on my Dominator pendant right now, just so I can.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah. But you have it. Well, you have it at 17, but that's not too bad. So ideally, for transposing, you want to transpose at 16, because it ends.
I think I'm trying to. I'm gonna keep that as drop gear. And then I have other Dominator pens. I think I'm just gonna do it on that and then use the 15-star scroll.
Yeah, okay, that could also work. Yeah, for sure. And then just get it to 16. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you said the Dominator pendant, so I was just assuming it was this one. But yeah, of course you have a whole inventory full of Dominator pendants. My bad. Okay. All right. You got critical. I'm just looking at your Legion now. Oh yeah, so
it's like 5,400 and 5,300 right now.
Okay, cool. So are you able to start moving into boss damage as well soon?
Yeah. So right now it's all pretty much optimized, besides like the few things in attack. But then I thought like it wouldn't be worth like just like I thought it was better just put the extra pieces in attack, because then I would have to like reach into the luck or the health and then go into boss damage. if I'm going onto the right side, right?
Yeah, what you would do is you take your horizontal line one lower and go like below the equator.
Yeah.
And then move through where intellect and HP are, and then yeah, let's change that one to attack and luck, and then go into boss like that. But yeah, the main thing is you want to wait until you have 6k before you do all of that, because then you get the extra hex, and then all of the pieces would start sticking out otherwise, so you'd have to start moving everything around anyway.
Yeah. Like right now, this is pretty much optimized. Besides like the 6-7 extra pieces in attack.
Yeah. Yeah, those
Because
would
this gives
go.
me 93% ignore defense.
Yeah,
And then I know
6-3
crit
would go
damage is
into
most
the.
important.
Yeah, it's a lot of moving around for like very minimal gains at this
Yeah,
point.
exactly.
But the main thing is, right, when you get to 6k, well, when you get to 5.5, you get those 5 extra characters in.
Yeah.
Instead of 1 extra, so that's huge. And then once you get to 6k, then you get the full grid. And then you'll probably be able to move, see, 22, 5, 6, 3, 18, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 22, 4... I don't know if you're going to be able to move into boss damage already at that point. You'll probably just fill up crit damage, fill up ignore defense, and then just put as much in attack as
Yeah, that's what I'm
you can.
thinking, yeah.
Well, as much into luck probably, right? Because luck will probably
Yeah.
get more valuable than attack at this point.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, so with the flame score, basically what you get is your flame score tries to emulate your stat value, right? So in the beginning, 1 attack is worth like roughly 5 stat, and then later on it's roughly more worth like 4 stat, and then in the end it's more worth like 3 stat because of how your sources of stat and sources of percentage stat and your sources of attack and your sources of percentage attack move around.
But I thought like Cadena or like Night Lords, like they scale harder with attack.
Yeah, yours is a little bit different because your base attack on your weapons, I think, is lower. Because you have a lot of percentage attack because of your emblem and your secondary. And because, I think also because you're a multiplier, because you have 2 secondary stats and everything gets multiplied with your attack, there could be a higher benefit for attack for you there. The real way of knowing that would be like throwing it into a giant calculator or asking some level 275 or like high level Kadena who's already like done leveling and who's done all the maths. And like ask them what their like 1% stat to equals how much stat equals how much attack, like roughly that. The danger there is that you're prepping for a situation that you'll never be in. But if you know that you're gonna go very far, there otherwise would be a danger in spending a lot of money on something that wouldn't actually end up being optimal for you, and that could be a huge like diversion away from your goal and end up having you like to overspend to course correct it later.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's better to like short term gimp yourself a little bit so that in the long term you can like max optimize, rather than like max optimize for the short term and then having to re-optimize later, because that can get very expensive. Yeah, I think if you want to get into boss damage and everything, I think you're gonna have to push the 8k Legion.
Yeah. It's gonna be a lot of work.
Yeah, I think it's doable. Like once you have 6k, your characters get super strong. You have access to a lot of Legion coins, and just pushing 140 to a 200. Like maybe not on a daily basis. Maybe you do it like every 2 days or something. 6 to 8, I think it's definitely doable. But your problem is going to be if you don't have the secondary Kana, right? It's going to take totems away from your main, so it'll depend. Like, if you don't really feel like training, you don't really feel like grinding. Maybe after 250, you fall into a little bit of a slump of like getting worse rates or something because you can't go to Limina yet. Then maybe you're like, okay, maybe I'll work on my Legion a bit, push that to 8, and then push your character to 255, and then go Limina, something like that. But that's kind of far away. But those are like options, I guess.
Yeah, like I can. There's just some characters I just don't want to get to 200. Like I just got my Hayato to 140, and that was like the worst thing in my life. But
okay, yeah.
like
yeah, it's someone else
Aaron,
in the chat who
G,
didn't like Hayato at all. Aaron was surprisingly fun for me. Hayato, once I realized for Hayato that you just hold down Raisan Renzan and then just use the AoE map clear, and that's just basically all you do. It started getting like way more simple for me, and it's not that much slower that I was like, okay, I can do this until level 200. Like, just map clear and hold down the mobbing
skill. I don't know how to
skill.
play it properly, but yeah, it's like
I think
kind of bad from like 100 to 140.
Yeah, I think I found out that one of my skills was actually a buff rather than a passive when I was already like 186 or something. Because someone was like, hey, why aren't you using this skill? And I was like, oh, I thought it was a passive. Well, fuck me, I guess. Same thing with my Demon Avenger, actually. Like, I think I was around that level as well when someone was like, why aren't you using Diabolic Blood? And I was like, wait, isn't that a passive? And I think it just gave me like 20% HP or something, and I was never using it. But that's nice, though, right? It's like finding $50 in a jacket you haven't worn in a while. It's like, oh, I'm stronger now. Nice.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's cool.
Just gotta get... like... I guess the level 3 links will be my motivation after a certain point.
For sure. If
D8, yes. Those are really good.
And that'll definitely lay the groundwork if you want to push from 6 to 8. Is having those level 3 links that will, that together with the big Legion and maybe an event. Maybe there's some 2x coupon somewhere, maybe some 3x coupon somewhere. Because pushing something like a Hayato from 140 to 200 is 2 extra critical damage, which is basically 4 extra grid spaces, right?
Yeah.
It's like adding an extra character to your Legion, basically, when it comes to grid bonus. It's massive, yeah.
That's the only reason I pushed this to 140 in the first place.
And the jet, I don't know what level your jet is.
Jet wasn't that bad, I think. Like, I left most of my things at 140, but like jet's weak, but like really fast and fun, so I think it's okay.
Yeah, they move like they do through the map. But I heard the mobbing is way better now. It's just the bossing that's still a huge problem.
Yeah.
Okay, what is this skill again? This is this the see that's the
that one it's like Heaven's Door pretty much. I use it sometimes like when I'm like scuffed on a boss run.
Is that a Nova skill?
Yeah, Nova skill, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like most of my nodes went to my Kana. That's why like it's just like I just got the important stuff to level 40 and then I just because it doesn't really like nothing. It wouldn't change much even if I maxed them out right now.
Because we mentioned the ID a bunch of times. Do you know where your functional ID is at?
Not specifically, but like I know I don't have really much of an issue with bosses right now.
Well, because once you get later into the game, the optimization between your boss damage, your attack, and your ID becomes very important, right? And therefore, what's very important is to know that there's like a difference between what your stat window says in terms of ID and what your actual functional ID is when you hit a monster. Because certain skills can have individual buffs, and there can also be on-hit effects that apply, and those never translate into your stat window, but they do apply, right? So if you know some classes that have 93 visual IED means that their functional is actually like at 99 or close to 100 basically. For other people, it just means that it's actually exactly 93 and nothing more, nothing less. And when it comes to the end game, it's very important to know which one of the two it is. So there is a calculator under !IED where you can just throw in all the sources that you know, and then you can help you figure out what your actual ID is, and then you can put that number into Weapon Secondary Emblem Optimizer under !WSE, and that will help you determine what kind of lines you would want on your weapon if you're actually, if you know like, okay, fuck it, I'm not going to get the weapon, I'm just going to like 20, 21 star Abso this one, or if you're going for Arcane, which one you want to be focusing on. In general though, you want to optimize on purely attack on the weapon because it has the 1310 lines, but since you already have... it's possible that doing that 13 10 10 and then maybe using that bossing secondary you have plus your emblem, it might be that that's actually really close to your optimal. I think it probably will be. It might be that it's a level too heavy on the damage, maybe, right? Because Reboot has a lot of percentage damage. And then in that case, maybe having, if you have like 40 10 10 on your weapon, something like that, with your attack emblem and with your emblem and your attack secondary, maybe that would be better. And then making sure that you get extra ID, maybe some from familiar, something like that, to get you to the sweet spot. Those are like what I'm guessing is probably going to roll out of that. But yeah, the calculator will, that's just like my intuition, but the calculator will let you know that 100%, and that'll be way more accurate than what I'm saying now. But yeah, just make sure that when you do it, like you show enough results to make sure that, you know, if your current situation is like only the 15th possible best, but it's only like 0.5% final damage less than what the most optimal is, after that you can like check in with the cube calculator and see like, okay, how much would this cost to optimize? Like for my arc, like the best thing would be to replace one line of boss damage on my weapon for attack, but the average cost of doing that is like 80 bill. So I'm like, no thanks. I'll just
Yeah,
rather
yeah.
dump that 80 bill and get my my hero and my marksman from being able to do normal lucid and will to being able to do hard lucid and will. Basically, like I'd
Yeah,
rather
pretty
do
much.
that than. But some people would just want to maximize their one character and be able to do, you know, like Varusilla, Gloom, Darkanel, those hard ones, and maybe even
Yeah.
Black Mage at some point. It totally depends on what you want to do, of course. But yeah, knowing how much your upgrades are going to cost you, how much it's going to upgrade you, that just gives you more information to base your decisions on.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so I think as weird as it is, probably like flaming a bunch of your non-boss advantage stuff is probably where some of the gains can be made. Because there's
Yeah.
just more room for some of those items to gain 10 stat than there is for some other ones. Like gaining 10 more stat on your hat is going to be very, very difficult. But getting 10
Yeah.
more on your monocle is probably more reasonable. It's just going to
Right.
be a lot of horrible outcomes before you get there. Because it
Yeah. I
doesn't feel like
mean,
you're moving forward when half the
yeah.
rolls only give you defense and jump and speed.
Yeah. If I can hit like 20 and like 2%, that'd be pretty good, I think.
Yeah, something like that would be major. Yeah, would be it basically be doubling your flame score, end game wise at least. Yeah, the superior is just a huge uh, like a bump, right?
Yeah, it's
Um,
huge.
and then the other stuff is past that, it's just going past 17 stars on your equip. So probably yeah. So you need backup to narrows. You'll need a 5, 10, 15 event at least just to do it, which means that CRA will probably get preferential treatment there. And depending on how much money you have and how quickly you're making it and everything, it's probably reasonable to... so if you need the upgrades, pushing 1 star at a time makes most sense financially. Just 1 star per item and then go to the next one. If you boom something, just get it back up to 18, move on to the next. That's if you need the upgrade. If you don't really need the upgrade, it might be better to push 1 item at a time to 20, because that will kind of eliminate, like depending on how far you eventually want to go, because it can eliminate a daily, right? Let's say you're doing the tattoo and a monocle, you're pushing it to 20 because you just want to reach 20. If you reach 20 and you don't need, then you can just be like, okay, I don't need any more dineros, or I still have a few thousand. I can just hold off because I only need the pendant anymore, right? And then that can save you a lot of time in the long run for not having to do the daily anymore.
Do you think I should remake the tattoo? Like, do you think I should make another one for the transposing, or just keep this?
Wait, the monocle you mean?
Yeah, monocle. Yeah.
So you don't have a Papulatus mark, right?
No.
Because the drop rate for those is just horrible.
Yeah.
I think most people who... I'm just going to make some assumptions, like based on how good your gear already is, like what your general income is and how far you probably will be able to get to upgrade everything. We'll probably get to like 19 or maybe even 21 monocle before they even get a Papulatus mark. And there's just like a lot of gains that you can still make there from
Yeah,
that extra star
yeah.
force before you even get to that point. And then there's all the flaming that you have to do after that, which can also take very long. So I think, yeah, if you're going to do like 1 at a time, getting everything to 18, everything to 19, I think that investment is definitely warranted. Yeah.
Okay.
Because yeah, I mean, you can get one next week. You can get one in like 2 years. Like, it's just that bad. Sadly, I wish it was more dependable. I could tell you like, well, how many runs have you already done? Well, you're gonna get it in 3 months. Therefore, I wouldn't do it. Like, you know, if there was something like that where I knew, then I probably wouldn't. I would just leave it at 17, because then again, like, you know, if you upgrade everything else, it can pick up the slack of a little bit of lack of damage on the monocle. But yeah, if everything is like 20, 21 and your monocle's still sitting at 17 because you didn't get the Papulatus mark yet, then it's kind of like, well, fuck it, right? Then you're gonna upgrade it at that point anyway, because it's the easiest to make a huge amount of gains on it there.
Yeah, and like also just like I feel like my stat should be a lot higher, but like I'm not even pushing 30k.
Oh, your
I'm not
stat?
sure if it's,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I'm not sure if it's because like it's all 17 stars.
Yeah, I
But
think
I'm
you
not sure
start
what I'm
getting
lacking.
like 11, 12, 13 stats, something like that per star, right?
Yeah.
It might be a little bit your arcane power, but you have 800. Do you have some? You have some points in your hyper staff for arcane power, right?
I think I had like 4 or 5. Like not that much.
Yeah, not that much, but it's red, so it's got to be boosted somehow.
Yeah.
Wait. So what level are your symbols?
The Esfera and the Moras ones are like 8, and the other ones are like 13, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's, what is it, like 13.2k stat if you max everything, and now
So
you're
I'll
at,
have like
yeah.
5 or 6k more stat if I max everything out, but
Yeah, so that already puts you at 30.
Right?
Yeah, but that puts you at 32, right? 32, 33. Yeah. And that's a huge difference between 27, but you don't upgrade your gear at all.
Right.
So the combination of Star Forcing, Slight Flame improving, and then well, the potential is gonna stay roughly the same. I
just don't know how some people like get, like 50k stat or something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously I don't have a badge and I need a cooldown hat, so I'm like gonna be missing some stats on that. But like realistically, I don't even see myself being close to 50k somehow.
Yeah, my arc is at 50 now. Some of my potentials are worse than yours, but some of them are a bit better. Like I have the Wondroid Heart, for example.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I have the badge, so that's a big difference. My Legion is already at 8k, and my main stat is Strength, so there's a lot more member bonus for Strength. It's also flat stat, but it's still, luck is pretty limited in your Legion, right? There's only like 4 characters or something give luck.
Yeah, and I have all of them at 140.
Yeah. I mean, getting them from 140 to 200 will also be a decent amount.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, here and there.
Wait, it goes. Is it 10, 20, 40, 80, 100? Is that how they go?
Yeah, it's 80. Yeah, goes to 80.
Oh, I'm clicking the wrong thing. Not knowing my own commands feels weird, man. There's only a few characters. Yeah, so it'll go from 40. It'll go from 40 to 80 per character, right?
Yep.
So it's 5 characters. That's 200 luck. That's already nice. That's 2 extra level. Well, it's only 2 levels of symbols, right? I think it's mainly going to be the symbol levels, to be honest. Like
symbols and stars, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and then Star Force will. Those numbers will also start getting multiplied, so that's going to be really, really fun. Yep. And I guess in general, like the lines on your belt are lacking, right? That's
belt, and then the. I mean, I'm still using that Dominator pendant.
Yeah, and the Dominator. Yeah. If you put that together,
I swapped the Horntail necklace for 21% superior right now.
Okay. The other thing is going to be like after that, once you start pushing to like 20, probably like CRA first, then maybe some accessories, depending on backups on your monocles, right? And then, so the main thing with pushing your Abzo to 20 or past 20 is the determining factor, I would say, is your potential. Like if it's already 3-lined, it makes more sense to me to just push on the item itself and get backups. If you don't have 3-line yet, it makes more sense for me to go for like a level 150 with high stars, transfer hammer it over, and then just recube it.
Right.
Because then the tiering up isn't that much of an extra cost.
Do you think that shoulder is worth like using the 150 and just wiping over?
That's the shoulder. The shoulder is difficult because it's like right on that edge potential wise, and it's also one of the more difficult ones to get backups for. Yeah, especially if you don't have drop familiars. So the shoulder, I would edge on the side of saying like just get extra Abzo. For the glove, I probably would also, because it's double line crit can be very expensive to reroll. It's not necessarily like some people get in like 2 to 3 bill, but some people don't get it in 30, and then you're kind of like fucking yourself over. The shoe is already 3-line, so that's like a no-brainer. The cape, I would say 100% just get like a enraged Zuckum cape, and then
really? I think Because
Yeah,
like the
all stat is
all-stat
also
kind
so
of make
good.
up for the 3, yeah.
Yeah, it is, and it's double prime all
Because it's
stat.
only 3% less than the shoes, and
Yeah,
I'm
if it was a
making it up for
7,
double all-star.
if it
Yeah.
was a
If it
7
was a 7, I
all,
wouldn't think about it, yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a tricky one. That's also a trick. You have so many that are like just on that on that edge.
Yeah,
It's
it's like good, but like not good enough, maybe, like, I don't know.
Well, you have pretty high standards set for your potential, right? Because of how good everything already is.
Yeah.
Are you like, yeah? I mean, what do you think about like the option of getting a bunch of extra Abzo backups for doing the weeklies and all of that? Is that something you're okay with?
Yeah, I'm okay with it, but right now I'm just using all my funds for Kana. Like I use like 3 weeks or 4 weeks of
Mm-hmm.
coins that I farmed on my weeklies on Kana, so but I can start doing that, it's not a problem.
Okay.
Because it'll take me a while to get the funds anyways at the next event.
Yeah, you're waiting anyway for a huge pile of money, right? Because what are we looking at? Star Force. So you would aim for 21st, right?
Yeah.
20 on 160. Abso normal star catch. And you would probably safeguard, right? Depending on how many backups you have. 5, 10, 15. What is the average boom of less than 1 per item? You're doing it on 5 items, so that's an average boom of 4. That's not too horrible, but it's like 11 bill per item. So it's like 55. Somewhere between 55 and like 70 bill, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when your upgrades start getting expensive.
Yeah. I mean,
the good thing is though that all your other stuff is pretty much already set. So once you got that out of the way, you're just mechanics away from being Ludus. Like Ludus, nice. That's like Lotus and Lucid together.
Yeah.
From being hard Will and Lucid ready. The meme thing is gonna be your rings though. That's gonna be.
Yeah, Kana. Like I don't know which one to do. Like I can make a couple more Meisters, but do I go for the Kana first? Because if it goes boom, I need to go with solid, right? Solid ring.
Yeah, so you go reinforced, superior, Meister, Kana treasure, and then if the Kana treasure blows up, you back it up with a solid. That's hopefully not too much worse. Yeah, Ozring is. I'm not like I probably should do more research on the Oz rings and how good they are and when you really want to use them, because people like switch between them, right, to get the effects. Doing Oz in general, though, from what I hear, is gonna get a lot more difficult soon, because there's like one floor where you kind of just like can very easily kill the boss now, and it's very simple, and it gets you to the point where you can get an extra box, and that's gonna be a lot harder in the future, from what I heard. So.
See.
Yeah.
I guess I should just go for my Kanas first, right? Before. Oh no, I should go for my Meister first for 20 star.
Yeah, probably push the Meisters because that one is actually, well, depending on how many primals you have, right? That one's actually replenishable.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's gonna be pushing Reinforced and Superior because those are replenishable, but of course at a horrible rate.
Yeah, every 2 months.
Do you have like Reinforced and Superior Ring? Because you don't have them.
No, I don't.
Okay. Yeah. Those are 700 and 450, right?
Yep.
Did you have any old coins that you're exchanging?
Nope.
Okay. Wait, so you're pretty new character then?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, all things considering, your potentials are considerable, so.
Yeah, I only had like 2 things that like cost me a lot to cube. That was the emblem and the weapon.
I mean, yeah, the emblem should cost you a lot. Otherwise, I'd be very mad. Like
I think it took me like less than 10 bill to get all the 3 lines on my Abso.
Wow, yeah, that's pretty. That's pretty damn lucky. Yeah. I was to say like it's probably better than my arc. I think my arc is missing like 3% on all of them. They're all like, oh no, my shoulder is 13, 10, 10, but like all the other ones are like, you know, like 10, 10, 10 with 10% all, or 13, 7 all 10 or something like that. But I mean that's close enough for me because I know again, like, you know, the extra cost it would be just to get that extra 3% is so high that it's like not
so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, like eventually I'm gonna have to requeue my 27s on my rings and stuff, but like
Yep.
that's the way. That's just like not worth it at this point.
Well, well, eventually you can, right? But whether you have to or not, that's still something that's up to you. Like some people just they see 27 and they just they're like, I can't handle seeing this. Like I have to get more.
If it's 27 like my chaos ring, I think I'll be okay with it. But
Yeah, the extra 3% all I think bridges that gap a lot better.
yeah.
That's for sure.
But then yeah, if it's like that, I'll probably if I get it to 20 star, then like I'm probably gonna get to 30 or 27 with more all stat.
Yeah. Remember for Meisters to get 2 of them, right? So you can transfer hammer 1.
Yeah, to the reinforced? No, the
Superior.
right?
Yeah. Reinforces the Reinforced and Meister are the
Yeah.
same level as the Kana Treasure at all 140.
Yeah.
But you don't want to transfer hammer Kana Treasure or something. That would be bad. Imagine if you could wear multiple Meisters. The meta would change so quick.
That'd be so broken.
Yeah. But yeah, you're just usually time gated by coins from
Yeah, Gollux and stuff.
from Gollux, yeah. So once you get the, so you'll try to go for probably like 21 Meister, like 2 of those, right?
Yep.
And you keep a 21 and 1 to a 20 star superior, and then you'll have hopefully get the solid, the reinforced, and the kind of treasure at 17. And then just try to push whatever the weakest ring is first until one blows, and then wear the other 2. And then hope that the one that blows isn't the Kana treasure, because then if that's true, then if it's not that one that blows up, then you can just save up for another ring and then replace that one and hopefully get it to the same point and then redo your roulette basically.
Yeah, I mean I could just use my vengeful if one of them blows anyways. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, that can fill its slot. But what I'm saying is like if the Kana treasure blows when the other 2 hit 18 or something, then you kind of have to stop.
Right.
Or like brute force it, because then you would have to reboot vengeful to like to hold it in, right?
What's this? Do you have a 20 star solid? I just want to see the stat.
On my arc I have it. Yeah, I don't have it.
Do you know what the stat is roughly?
I think I must have a picture of my rings. I think I tweeted it sometime. Hang on, let me see. Stream screenshots, rings, arc rings. Here we go. 81 all and 49 weapon and magic attack.
Okay, so yeah, that's a big difference. Okay.
Yeah, this is the attack you get past 15 just blows the the event rings out of the water by so much. Yeah, it's nuts.
That is so huge too.
Up until then, though, the event rings are just free damage. But yeah, once you get past that, it's
pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah.
And the Kana got to 21, so that's you don't even want to risk going to 22 because if you do that, you lose 18 stat and 15 weapon attack. If it blows, it's not worth it to me. Like doing something like Jando did, right? Is just make a new character and try to get the Kana treasure to 22. If it doesn't work, just remake your character. Like in the beginning,
that's Adele guy.
Yeah, like that's a pretty solid strategy. If you know you want to min max and go to endgame with your character, you already know that beforehand, then that's like a very solid strategy because then you already take that completely out of the equation on day 1 and then you move on from that. I mean, it costs you a fuck ton of money, of course, but
yeah, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So much time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he ended up doing it within the first day, right? So it's basically only 1 day behind other people on grinding. Like in the beginning, that basically means he's like 210 levels behind. But after a few months, I think he became rank 1 already. Like within 12 days or something, he already passed the other person and made up for that 1 day. So
it's just crazy though. Like those people, it's like
it's a certain level of it's knowing what you want and then doing what it takes to get there. Yeah.
I don't think I'd ever have the motivation to do that. I mean, that guy farmed for like months before though.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, me neither. That's not something that's enjoyable to me, but I like looking at that and looking at like, wow, congrats on that guy. Like, he wanted it and he fucking he did the work. Like, yeah, props to him, but not for me.
I'd rather like just quit the game. Like,
well, I mean, he really liked the game, but from what I understand, he just Blaster wasn't like tickling his pickle anymore, so he just needed something new to make it worth playing again. You know, whatever makes sense to you.
Yeah, I mean, end
Yeah,
of the day, it's motivation. That's like makes you
yeah,
farm or whatever.
for sure. Yeah, I think fun is a big part of it. I think because fun can give you intrinsic motivation. You know, just to want to play, to want to log on, and to want to make gains.
Yeah.
If you're not having fun anymore, you need. Oof, I think you can get like temporary motivation from events and stuff, but if the motivation is external, I think it's always trickier to keep it long term. If it's intrinsic, you just do it because you want it, you know?
Yeah, like sometimes, like not like all the time. Sometimes it just like feels bad if I miss a daily or something these days. But like most of the time, it's like it's for fun.
Yeah. For me, I don't feel so bad because I know that I barely miss any in the last 4 years. So if I miss one, it's whatever. I don't give a fuck. But if you
Yeah.
already are pretty spotty with your dailies and then you miss one when you could have been playing, but there's a maintenance or something, and then it feels really bad because then, you know, percentage-wise compared to how many you miss, it's like it's another one, you know. But if you barely miss, it's like whatever. I'll still get there. It just
Then kind of does stupid shit sometimes. Like, I fought like 400 cubes for the DMT and then used like 10. And now I have like a bunch of cubes on nothing.
Yeah.
I have nothing to cube. Just sit in there. If I don't get my belt within the next like 3 weeks, they're just going to waste.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. What would you cube? I mean, maybe an Abzo hat.
I might just cube my rings for drop or something, like more drop or...
Oh yeah, don't have your drop gear set, but you said you have 140 drop and 40 mezzo or something?
Yeah, I might make it hybrid or like get double lines or something maybe.
Yeah, because I think your well, what I call hybrid, so like your gear that's both drop mezzo and both damage gear is significantly strong enough where I think if you remove big chunks of damage from your accessories because of replacing them with drop and mezzo, I think you can still reliably one-shot, especially also because your arcane power is high enough. So at that point, you would just be you'd be across the board just increasing your rates without any downside. And that's always good, especially if you're, you know, even if you have the farming kind of being able to make a decent amount of money, even when you're just training, just feels good as well because it just feels like you're hitting, you know, two things at once, and that always, you know, to me that's a big motivator.
Yeah, I had 60 drop and like 120 meso before, but then after like toteming it and like using Legion and everything, I was pushing 350 mil, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna cube this for drop. So feels bad.
350, yeah, 350 is rough. Like for my arc with everything, I make 600 an hour now when I train.
Yeah, but I think arc is a lot better than Cadena and mobbing, isn't it?
Yeah, how you move around the map, I think feels more natural. But like the map where I train at, I go a little bit out of my way to loot, but not too much. So like I hurt my rates a little bit, like experience-wise, but but this allows me to very casually like not need a farming kana to make my money between all the, you know, bossing crystals and that kind of stuff, of course.
Because I feel like Kadena is like hero mobbing except like more mobile. Like that's really it.
I think you
besides the Maelstrom.
I think similar to Hero, I think you need to find that one map that just fits your kit, and then you just go hard there. Because from what I heard, Hero has like a pretty good map, high level up as well, but they need to be in full damage gear and have like a lucid soul that allows them to two-shot, and then they can actually get decent rates as well again. But it has to be that one map that just fits them perfectly, you know, like how CLP is in Arcana. Like all the other maps is kind of like spotty, but then if you can get a CLP map, then it just makes sense for your class.
Like I don't really prioritize, I guess like I just like go train for EXP on Cadena most of the time, so I just go to like kind of niche maps like Abandoned Area 2 on Moras. So that usually has like 90 to 100% burning. And it's like the map's kind of long, but it's not terrible. But like I have to actually, if I want to pick up mesos, I actually have to pick it up. Like it's kind of bad in those terms, but
yeah, your pets aren't
EXP
gonna do that.
There, yeah. So I just go there, but because I'm not mainly going for farming, but I still get pretty decent node drops.
You've done like battle analyses to see if there's a big difference in your rates?
Not really, but like I only prioritize nodes when I'm on Cadena, like most of the time.
Oh, when I said rates, I meant like experience rate. Sorry.
Oh, experience. Yeah. I thought you meant like mesos.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, People usually refer, when they say rates, they usually refer to MSO rates, yeah. So that wasn't like it was still beneficial to be in those maps for your experience because of the high level burn?
Yeah, cause like it's not like I have like 120 meso or something like where like I'm making a lot of mesos in the first phase, so
Oh yeah, the
it's like,
difference doesn't get multiplied,
yeah,
yeah. Okay.
yeah, it's not that big of a difference.
I see. Like percentage-wise, it's the same difference, but like in real numbers, it doesn't feel as bad.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Cause I can always just make up for farming 30 minutes on Kana.
Yeah, that's true. You have that option. Because you don't have to do 2-hour sessions and lock yourself in, get your P bottle ready. Like, make sure you don't have to CC.
Yeah.
Get your guild on standby for KSers. That kind of,
exactly.
the general preparations you do.
I always prioritize those maps. I don't know why. Like I love those high burning like just maps that like not contested.
What is your, because I just scrolled past, I guess I've scrolled past your link skill setup the whole time, but there are 3
Yeah,
Lumi
so
Phantom
I
Beasts in there?
I have those, but I have Kinesis level 2 right now, so I think I'm using that. And then I don't really use the what is it, the Mihail that much. Same with the Noble Fire.
Yeah, Noble Fire is only in teams, right? Because by
Yeah.
yourself it's shit. Yeah, do you need the knockback resistance?
And some bosses I heard, but like I don't, even in Lotus, like I don't really see it making a difference.
Okay.
So yeah, I just did the link anyways, but I can always use like I can use Kana and DA, yeah, DA.
Mm-hmm.
And then
For the flat damage.
yeah, and I have Xenon as well. It's not terrible.
Mm-hmm. You have your empirical knowledge, thieves cunning, unfair advantage.
Like I'm not too sure how good Thieves Cunning and Empirical Knowledge is, to be honest, but people just use it, so I use it.
Yeah, I mean I'm kind of in the same boat. I know empirical knowledge can definitely be good, right? Because it's the IED and the damage
IED
stack.
plus damage, yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely nice. The Thief's Cunning, yeah, because it's apparently like the duration also can get increased with your buff duration. And sometimes there's like server lag when it doesn't apply properly, and then it just lasts longer. So people like bank on that malfunctioning, I think, to have it be more efficient than the numbers officially state. Because otherwise it would just be a weak version of like elementalism, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're more bursty, then it makes sense, right? If you don't deal damage for a little bit and then you burst, then you get a higher percentage during the burst, and then off burst you don't get the buff, then you still, on average, get a better result, even though it's less than 50% of the if it's less than 100%, right, combined effect compared to elementalism, but you have it apply that 40 whatever, like 80% of how good it is maybe on your burst, and then the 20% on off burst, then it still can end up being better. But that's kind of like what you're banking on. Same with terms and condition, like it lasting longer and it mainly applying during your burst, because if you take the average of terms and condition, then it's not nearly that good. But
oh yeah, of course,
yeah.
I mean, do you have any suggestions otherwise? I'm not, like, my core aura is like 34 attack, 34.
Oh, that's really solid. Let's see if anything jumps to mind, but I think that you
yeah, I think I did my homework on it.
What happened to my link skill? Why is this a bunch of question marks?
Jesus. Is the pirate one like relevant at all or no?
Pretty late in the game. I think the pirates or the stacked Cygnus Knights or the Hayato all end up doing like almost the same thing. So there's like there could be minor balance differences between whether you want to go more on the side of stat, more on the side of attack, or more like the mix and match between the two.
Right.
But they're just roughly the same, like generally. Let's see, you have that one. But if you're Unleash, you have the Light Wash. You did have the Light Rod Logic, use the DA. Unfair advantage. Of course. Oh, but you have... Oh, you don't have Judgment. The Kinesis...
No, I have it. I just didn't.
Oh, you're working on it. Okay,
yeah,
okay, I see it there. I just scrolled down. It was right there.
That was
Yeah,
like 5 days ago, so I haven't done that.
yeah. And you have you don't have Solus, the arc link skill.
Oh, I have it, but I just didn't use it. Is it the
It
best in
skills.
slot?
Yeah, it scales to level 3.
Okay.
At level 3, it's best in slot. It gives you 16% damage when you stay in
Okay.
combat, so it's also pretty easy to keep up, yeah.
So I guess I should get Arc to 210 as well.
Yeah, and that will probably replace Elementalism then.
Right. Okay.
Unless you feel like you really don't get anything out of Night's Watch, and you could try to replace that one, I guess.
I mean, what really bosses like do you need that for?
I found that...
Lucid or Lotus?
Yeah, Lucid can be a thing, right? Because you can get knocked around by the golems. You can get pushed off of platforms. For Lucid, you probably want to use it. I found it very useful for characters that lack knockback resistance on Chaos Papulatus, because he would like bump me into lasers or push me away from blocking the lasers right before they would touch. Stuff like that.
Right, but Cap is pretty easy now, so I guess not really relevant.
If you have a skill, yeah, if you are able to burst up those bosses down, or you have some skills that can make you knockdown resistant as well, like temporarily or something, then that can kind of eliminate the necessity for that. Yeah, that'd be more something specifically that you ask Cadena, is like, hey, when do you guys really use this? What is this really useful for?
Yeah.
And it's possible that they say like, oh, you only use it for like phase 2 Lucid or something, and then for everything else, it's kind of useless. You know.
Yeah, I've seen like some people like swap out nodes and like links and like obviously like rings and stuff during bosses and
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
really, like,
The rings for
good
extra
stuff.
burst.
Yeah.
The nodes, they might... Do they switch out like special nodes?
Yeah, special nodes.
Yeah, because you only use one of those at a time, right? If you need the healing node, or if you want the... what is it? Lethal strikes? Fatal blows? Fatal strike? Fatal strike, that's the one.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, like Fatal
Apparently, like,
Strike has a chance of giving you 100% extra damage. Activates once every 30 seconds, I think. So people would use that for like extra burst on phase 3, for example. And then there's another one that can full heal you every 20 or every 30 seconds. So you can use that to like
so
avoid dying. That's like pretty min-maxy though. That typically what you would be using if you're like Black Mage fighting or Varus Hill or stuff like that. Or if you're doing, you know, hard Lucid, hard Will, but your party's like kind of close to being able to do it, and you want to min-max everything you got. Yeah.
Because I know this one Korean paladin player, like he uses this one where if he die, your cooldowns like get cut by 30% or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's a thing. And there's also a thing for Kana farmers where they use one where your cooldowns get reduced by stuff. So they use that one to make it so that you can have 100% uptime on your Lucid Soul for farming. That's another, it's another min-maxy one. They have like cooldown reduction on their hat, and then they use that for farming, so they have 100% Lucid Soul uptime.
Do you think CD on hat is like mandatory on Kana, like Arcana?
No, I don't think it's mandatory. I think it's important if you want to get the best possible rates in the world. I think, because I think the effect is not as big now, because you're not like 100% Kishin uptime, especially not if you're really strong, right? Because of the changes. I would have to like find an update. Does anyone in the chat like farm Kana at Arcana or above? Like, what percentage of rate do you really get, do you think, from the extra uptime from Lucid Soul because of hat cooldown? Like, is it like an extra 5% or something?
Yeah, my Arcana is like almost at 20k stat. And then if I have to queue for cooldown on pad, and it doesn't make much difference, and I don't think there's a point.
Yeah, for Kana, yeah. Yeah, Ryo Dota says not much difference, about 5%. So yeah, there's like the difference between making 950 mil and making 1 bill. I mean, yeah, if you're gonna throw countless hours at it, I mean, it's extra money.
Yeah.
But there is the
a lot to make that as well.
Exactly. There's the recuperation period of getting your money back, which is not always evident. Self-evident, yeah.
And I'm going for, I guess, 3-line magic attack on fan or 2 to 3 line on the Haku's fan, right? And then
yeah. just
I'm
full
strictly going
blown.
for farmer. Same thing with. I guess damage is okay too on the main fan if I'm not going bossing right.
Yes, that could also work. Yeah, if you have the like 2-line magic attack, 1-line damage that like salvages
Yeah.
the 3rd line. Maybe even like crit rate on something because your crit rate on Kana is very bad. Like if your emblem hits like 2-line magic attack and a line of crit rate or something, that could also be
My
worthwhile.
emblem's 2-line magic attack and then IED.
Okay, you
So
already have idea. That's fine. You don't want to roll over IED for critical
yeah,
rate.
yeah,
It's more about the having at least something on the 3rd line type of deal.
yeah. Like I'm just strictly going for farming. Like maybe I can boss on it later in the far future, but like just
Mm-hmm.
focusing on farming anyway. So
Yep, makes sense.
okay.
Yeah, matrix wise, I mean, you're dedicated more to the Kana, right? So eventually you're
Yeah,
going to be leveling all of those up. I assume that you figured out
yeah. Those are all pretty
your
much
boost
done.
nodes and everything. Yeah. I don't know how good decent combat orders is for you.
Yeah, like if you see the holy symbol, I swap it out for the grandest goddess thing when
Mm-hmm.
I'm bossing, because that
Bossing versus
one,
moment, yeah.
yeah, that one gives you extra damage and also gives you 3 resets on the next, like it resets their 3 next abilities. So I just go bad, 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 and that's like the biggest burst usually.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
But don't really know what else to put in.
I mean, you would be your spirit for extra burst, right? Your goddess.
Yeah, I guess I can put, cause like the holy symbol, I usually just swap out at the end if I kill the boss. So
Yep.
I guess I can put in like the blessing or something.
Well, I mean, you have all of your extra slots unlocked, right? So you need 50 more
Yeah.
levels before you can even get like a free extra slot. Otherwise, you'll have to buy it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I guess it's a goddess and maybe decent combat orders. I don't know how good it is for Cadena.
Right. Okay. I
Have
should
you, have you
probably
ever tried
compare.
just using it and seeing what it does for your stats?
Not really.
Okay. So
Because
what you could
the
do is
other ones are more better.
yeah, what you could do is just unequip like a boost node and just equip it and see what it
Yeah.
does. So I know for sure like your Maple Warrior goes to 1 extra percent.
Right.
But if there's a bunch of passives that empower your skills or anything that gives you any type of final damage or critical damage or maybe IED, some boss damage
Oh
in
yeah,
your
like the
4th
passive
job.
and stuff. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, if it boosts up your passives, that could actually end up giving you a bunch of extra final damage. Like for Hero, it
And
does
also,
that, right?
yeah. And do I need to level up my sharp eyes at all? Like I heard I don't. Right.
So there is flexibility because the duration of the buff will go up.
Yeah.
And if you, during your burst, already have to do a lot of things, if your buffs last longer and your Kana's like, okay, binding in 5 seconds, and,
Right. It's
if your
running
Sharp
out,
Eyes
yeah.
is about to run out, you're going to have to refresh it during the burst if you keep it at level 1. If you level it up to level 15 or 20, you just have way more flexibility and you can just pop it immediately
Right.
and then it'll be up. That's like the added value. But so it's a pretty niche use, but it, in terms of trying to optimize your burst, you don't want to have your decent skills like like falling off during your burst. That's just
Yeah.
painful. Yeah.
But like like just stat wise doesn't change, right? Besides duration.
I think it's maybe like 1 stat extra every 5 levels or something like that. The only thing that
Oh.
really gives you stats is rope lift. That one gives you 1 all stat per level. So if you put it in, you have to have like a end game min maxing. People put level 25 nodes, rope lift nodes into slot for like 30 extra stat. Like 30 all
Okay.
stat. But that's, yeah, we're talking about like 270,
Yeah.
275 people min maxing their damage output. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you got the maelstrom. Yeah. No, I think you're good
Yeah. I mean, I have a
otherwise.
long way to go on on those, but like it does the job right now, so
Mm-hmm.
it's not a big deal.
Oh, well, you're heavy level 40, so you have the extra 20 IED, so that's already useful.
Yeah.
What do your level 20 buffs usually do?
20 is 5% crit, I think.
Okay. You on like all your skills, or?
No, on the specific skill, I think.
Some of them might have like 1 extra monster hit or something, right? Some of them tend to do that.
No, I think it's just 5%.
Okay. Yeah, well, you probably calculated that in for decent sharp eyes, right? To hit it 100%.
Yeah, I mean the only thing like crit, I just like, cause like I can get extra crit from the Beast Tamer 210 and then like small things here and there, so
Mhm.
like it'll save me hyper stats, but that's about it pretty much.
Yeah, because you have pretty much all the characters, so you also have the marksman and the knight lord and those kind of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to get 95 crit just because my level 20 skills get 5%, right? Like that's stupid.
It depends. If it's all your skills, then you would want it, right?
No, it's just that specific skill because
It's
all
only
of them
one.
just
Yeah.
5%. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Then it's stupid. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it falls into the same category of like wanting 94 visual IED, but then if all your skills, or if you have like something, if you're like a paladin, you don't want to do that, right? Because you just have threaten, and then you get 50% IED to the boss
Oh, yeah,
debuff,
yeah, yeah.
right? So it's like, well, so even if you're at visual 90, that means you're already functional at 95. That's even without your other boost. So yeah, you just want to stop stacking faster because it just doesn't make sense. You can just start stacking more boss, more
Yeah.
more attack. Yeah.
Okay.
Does that make sense for the upgrading path?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of had it. I just wanted like confirmation, so
Mm-hmm.
that's good to like get second opinion always.
Yep, for sure. I mean, I hope you get the superior drops quickly, or get like 32 from every run, I guess, whatever the max is,
Yeah.
because yeah, it's a huge time gate now. It feels worse because you used to be able to get it pretty reasonably, and now it's like further out of reach. But yeah,
But like,
it's everyone's
got me
problem.
to
So
Legion and stuff, so it's okay.
yeah. You just moved your frustrations to another thing instead. So
Yeah, like marksman was so bad to get to 140. My God.
yeah, some people are just happy with the fourth job just because it's not as horrible as the third job. But that's like the most positive thing about the whole experience with marksman is that
I
it
feel
gets,
like if I ever get a friend to play, like, I'll just make them start with marksman just to like.
yeah, if you could do
they'll
that,
appreciate everything else.
yeah, if you could do it with marksman, you'll make it in this game. Like if that doesn't make you
It's
quit,
so
then
bad. Yeah, you're either quitting or like becoming the best player in the world.
yeah, pretty much, yeah. I mean, that's why people have such bad experience, I think, with Mercedes as well, because on top of Mercedes not being too fun for a lot of people, it also has you have no links and no legion when you're starting, right? So that makes it even
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah.
That's why I think a lot of
Starting
people
with
have
Baron is the best or something.
yeah, they start so strong, like you don't need anything.
Yeah, to
Or
be
like,
3
or
hours,
dual
140 on
with a demon slayer or something, right? You get like a lot of crit from your skills and stuff. So
Yeah.
you have 100% stance that you start with. That makes, oh man, going from like a 100% stance character to a stance-less character is also
Yeah, it's so bad. It's
huge.
so bad. I think there's a level 90 heart coming out soon, isn't there? This year?
It was the summer update now for KMS, so we should be able to get. Was it level 90 or level 100? Not sure, like, but
I mean,
it's in the same tier,
the
whatever.
heart
Yeah.
is, yeah.
But yeah, that should be. Hopefully, we'll be getting that this winter. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So
that
then you'll
should
be able to
another,
go
like 1,000 stat or something.
to 30% from 11 to 30. Yeah, so 19% stat gain. That's pretty big, because then your star force is going to be higher, right? So it's
Yeah,
going to
the star
multiply
force,
as
yeah.
well. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just time gated, I guess.
Yep. Yeah. Pretty much, but and event gated now as well. Yay.
Yeah, event and time gated, yeah.
Yeah.
Just farm on my Kana until Kingdom Come, I guess.
Yeah. Eyes on the prize. Eyes on the sunny Sundays, and then hopefully it all comes soon, and hopefully you get a drop soon.
Yep.
All right. Is there anything else that you
No, that's good,
want to
man.
know?
Thanks so much.
All right. No problem. And best of luck, man.
Yeah, thanks. Take care, man.
Yeah. See ya.
Peace.
Peace.